Hey guys, it's Bren with Kindred Acres Homestead, and today I want to teach you how to make a delicious, creamy Cardoon casserole. It is so good, y'all. You have to try this recipe. So we have some delicious heirloom juicy tomatoes ready to go, some onions, some garlic, some spinach, all kinds of goodies. So let's go ahead and teach you how to make this casserole. Okay, y'all, so I went ahead and harvested some Cardoons. Now, Cardoon's in the artichoke family, but unlike artichokes, you don't eat the flower on this one. You actually eat the stalks, kind of like you would celery. So I went ahead and harvested some, and I'm going to show you how to prepare them and make this absolutely delicious Cardoon casserole. It's a creamy Cardoon casserole. So hang in there. Let's go ahead and get these cleaned up and ready for cooking. Okay, guys. So these are the Cardoon stalks. And yes, I have gloves on, and I'll show you why. If you look really closely, they have really wicked spikes like cactus thorns. So I'm going to show you how to take care of that. So with your gloves on, grab it from the leafed end. You're going to take a knife and just kind of go up. The spikes are only along the edges. Once you get that cleaned up, then you can handle the stalk without having to worry about hurting yourself. So you're going to take your knife and just go up the edge. Make sure you do this over your compost pile, over your trash can, something. Don't do this where it can get on the floor or your counters, because those spikes are really painful. So just basically cut the edges off with your knife, and just kind of, it comes off very easy. When you run into a spot that's kind of being tricky, just kind of back and forth and until you get past that spot. And then, I don't know if I'm getting this in video. I'm trying not to get myself hurt. At the same time, I'm trying to video, and I'm doing this by myself, so I don't have anybody to videotape for me right now. There we go. So I just got them off just by basically running my knife along the edge. And, you know, just to be extra sure I got it all off, I'll go ahead and run the knife a couple more pass-throughs, and then I'll rinse this off real well before I cut the tops off, and then I can handle it with my bare hands. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And I've got one here already cut. See, now I can handle it and not have to worry about the spikes. So now, Cardoons are in the artichoke family, like I said, except with the artichokes, you eat the flower stalk, where with this is the part you eat. This is a young plant. It's first year, really, and it, depending on your zone, sometimes they're perennial, sometimes they're an annual. And I didn't have luck getting them to overwinter, so I'm going to grow it, assuming that it's going to be an annual, and just take what I can get from it. And if it comes back, then great. Now, what you want to do is just take your knife and just kind of scrape the outer part of this, just to get some of the fibers off, because it is fibrous like celery is. And so just scrape it till you get to like the core. Oh, there we go, we got it. So you want that nice core. You don't want to take too much off, because, you know, especially when they're young, they're pretty thin, and you want as much meat as possible. But you're just trying to get to the inner core. That's the part that tastes just like the heart of an artichoke, and so that's what you're getting to. And now, they do oxidize quickly, so like an apple would, they brown once you cut them. So you want to have a little bowl ready next to you, which I have right here next to me, that's got either a squeeze or two of lemon inside water, or a little bit of organic apple cider vinegar. And as soon as you're done peeling them or scraping them, I'm going to do this, set it down on the counter. It's easier when I have something instead of just doing it mid-air. And I got that one side done. Let me flip it over, get this side done, and then I'm just going to drop it into my bowl. And that'll help keep them fresh looking. I'm not worried too much about the inside part. Now, some people don't like to leave that. If you don't like to leave that, the easiest way to get to that part would be to cut the stalk down the center, and it kind of flattens it out a little bit instead of having like this concave stalk like a celery would be. So this is what it looks like once it's peeled and clean. I don't know how well that's
showing up in the camera. I mean, I still have a little bit of the outer, it's really not that big deal. It's just a little bit fibrous like celery. And the inside I didn't even worry about, but if you really want to, you can just slice this in half and then peel that part too. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue. I have a couple more stalks here. I've already started. My bowl is soaking, and you also want to have your pot of water ready. So a nice big pot full of water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, and you're going to boil these stalks once you're done peeling them or scraping them. You're going to boil them for about 20 minutes. So let me go ahead and finish getting these prepared, and then I will show you what comes next.
All right, so we got the Cardoons all skinned, trimmed up, cleaned, and in the pot. And so you're going to go ahead and bring this up to a boil and let it boil for 20 minutes. And in the meantime, you want to go ahead and dice up an onion. You can do 2 if they're small. I like a lot of onion in mine. You're going to cut up some spinach. And you're going to dice up some tomatoes, set them in a bowl aside, and I'm going to show you all this in just a minute. So let's go ahead and get to it, okay? Alright, so I've got 2 onions out that I'm dicing up and setting them in my bowl here separate. And then now I've got 2 beautiful tomatoes, freshly picked. I'm going to go ahead and dice these up. And I'm just going to throw a little salt in there with them in the bowl, and a little bit of white pepper, and just toss them around and let them sit in the salt and white pepper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish working on this, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so the Cardoons have been boiling for 20 minutes. I just turned the burner off. I'm about to take that off, and I've got my water boiling. What I'm going to do is boil up about 1 3/4 cups of orzo. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there with oil and salt in the water. Boil that for about 9 minutes. You want it al dente. You don't want it like completely cooked, because this is all going to bake in the oven again as soon as we're done here. So we're going to let that boil for about 9 minutes. Set my timer here. 9 minutes, and I've got my onions diced up, my tomatoes. I sprinkled white pepper, salt, mixed up really good. I've got 2 to 3 good handfuls of spinach. You can use store-bought spinach. We're growing vegetable amaranth, which is like a Chinese spinach, so we're just using that. And this is soaking up in the vinegar water that I had the stalks of Cardoons, so as not to waste. So we can go ahead and reuse that water for cleaning our spinach. And then I'll go ahead and drain that, chop that up. And then also you want to go ahead and chop up a couple good handfuls of shiitakes. I'll probably use this whole container, to be honest, because I love shiitakes. And so I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, orzo's cooking. I've got my 2 cups. It's pretty packed in there. So 2 packed cups of chopped fresh spinach, and my onions and shiitakes. I ended up using a little bit more than half the container. I didn't use the whole thing. So my onions, this is about 2 small onions, or 1.5 medium onions, are diced up and in the pan with some olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and saute those. While those are cooking up, I'm going to grab myself a bulb of fresh garlic from the garden. Good sized bulbs this year. And we're going to mince up a couple cloves of garlic, probably like 2 or 3 cloves. We'll add it to the saute in the pan, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so I've added the garlic, I've got the mushrooms and onions sauteing now. I've got my orzo drained and rinsed, and in a baking pan that was brushed with some olive oil, I'm about to throw the spinach in with the mushrooms and onions. I've got the Cardoons here ready to use, so let's go ahead and get to it. Go ahead and add your spinach. A little bit more in the cup and get it all out.
waste any. Go ahead and stir that up. I'll lower this a little bit. Put it on 4. And go ahead and let this continue cooking up. Just another minute or 2. You don't want to fully cook everything. You're just kind of blending flavors, softening things up, because this is going to bake in the oven in just a few minutes. So right about now is when I'll go ahead and start getting my oven preheated to 375 Fahrenheit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, now I don't like to use tin foil, and we have banana trees growing, so I use banana leaves to cover my pans with, or bake in, or whatever, just like you would tin foil. I didn't have a chance to wilt these first. Normally you wilt them over the fire or heat, and I didn't have that opportunity, so I kind of just had to tear them into pieces, because when you wilt them, they're easier to work with. They bend and move a lot easier. When you don't wilt them first, then they tear. So no big deal. I have them torn into pieces, and I'm just going to go ahead and wash these with soapy water front and back, and this will be the lid or covering to my pan. So I'm going to get to that. Be right back with you. Okay, so they did rip up a little bit more as I was washing them, but I got my banana peels, leaves washed up really well, front and back, soapy water, and rinsed really good. This is a much more eco-friendly option. I can't remember the last time I bought tinfoil. I hate using tinfoil anyway because it's really not good for you. But this you can use and then compost it. And the banana tree actually needs to be cleaned up now and then anyway, so it's kind of good to do that. Okay, so now I'm actually going to go ahead and spread on top of my orzo my mixture here. Just kind of evenly spread this out. See if I can get a further view so I don't have to keep turning so much for you. It's hard to do with just one person in the kitchen. Let's see. Make sure we get a little bit everywhere. I'm kind of making a mess here. I want every last drop of that deliciousness. Okay. So we've got that in there. I'm going to grab the tomatoes. We're going to layer the tomatoes on top of this. And then I'm going to show you what to do with these cardoons. So hang in there. Alright, so we've got we've got the pan brushed with olive oil. Then we've got the orzo laid on there. That was cooked al dente about 9 minutes. Then we layered on our sauteed mushrooms, garlic, onions, and spinach. Topped it with the seasoned tomatoes, and I went ahead and poured all that tomato juice right in there. And now we're ready for the next step to make the cream cardoon topping. So like I said, this is not a vegan recipe. It's vegetarian but not vegan, so if you're vegan, this is not going to be a recipe for you. So we've got 1.5 cups of organic sour cream. Sorry, I got some on my hand. And 1 package of organic cream cheese. We're going to go ahead and put that in the blender. We're going to blend that till it's smooth and creamy, and then we're going to add the boiled cardoons and just pulse that. We don't want them pureed. We want them in bits and chopped, but not pureed. So you could do this in a food processor. I just find it easier to do everything all in one. My little Vitamix here, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that and show you what it looks like after. Okay, so I got the cream cheese and sour cream blended, so they're smooth, and I went ahead and rough cut the cardoons. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the blender. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put the lid on so we don't make a big old mess. And let's see, we're going to pulse this. A little bit lower. good times. That should be good. All right, and now I'm gonna go ahead and spread this on top, and then we're gonna top it with some shredded smoked Gouda. You can use any smoked cheese, cheddar cheese, Gruyere cheese, any shredded smoked cheese. Trust me, y'all, get the smoked. All right, I'll go ahead and take care of that and show you what it looks like next. All right, so I got my Cardoon cream sauce on top, and now I'm about to shred the smoked Gouda and spread that evenly over the top, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. All right, there we go. So we got the shredded smoked cheese on top. I was pretty generous with the cheese. Looks delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and lay my banana leaves on top. Might have to put the camera down to do this and show you in just a moment. But you would either cover this with a lid or a banana leaves, or if you have no other choice, then go ahead and use tin foil, but preferably find a more eco-friendly alternative. Be right back with you. All right, so I got my Cardoon cream sauce on top, and now I'm about to shred the smoked Gouda and spread that evenly over the top, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Ooh. And that's it, y'all. So let's go ahead and take the banana leaves off. Ooh, let that heat out a minute. Try not to get all my cheese with it. Go ahead and throw those in my compost bowl. That smells good. It smells so good, guys. So, let's see if I can get this one out without getting all my cheese off. I should have oiled them. I forgot to oil the leaves. All right, so now go ahead and put that back in, and we're gonna let that bake for about another 5-10 minutes at most. So go ahead and check it in 5 minutes. All right, we'll be right back with you. Ooh, it's looking good. Okay, it's ready. Now, I don't like to let the top get too brown, because then I find that the cheese is not as stringy, and I like it nice and stringy. But if you want it a little bit more golden brown, feel free to leave it in a little bit longer. So without the banana leaves, I left it baking for about 8 more minutes. So you can maybe go 10 to 12 if you like it really golden brown. This is perfect for me. So I'm going to go ahead and serve this up, and we're going to dig in. So hang in, we'll tell you how it tastes. Oh my goodness, it looks and smells amazing. Are you excited to taste it?
Yes.
All right, would you like a little extra shredded cheese on top?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna dig in. All right, guys, so we're about to give it a go. Let's see. Ready? Cheers. Kalia. Do I get a kid seal of approval? Seal of lips? Oh, it smells amazing.
It smells really good.
Oh my god. That's good, guys. That's really good. What do you think? It's good? That's awesome.
Reminds me of something. What's on it?
Reminds you of something that you've tasted before? Maybe like a spinach and artichoke dip?
No, it reminds me of those artichoke dips.
Oh, because maybe it's the spinach and the cheese. I can see that. But anyway, it's absolutely fabulous. So I hope you try it. If you do, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of it. And thanks for watching. We're going to go ahead and dig in now.